Welcome to another Liquid Bullet Productions. We're going into part 2 now with Mr. Paul Stockton. Thanks, Paul.
Pleased to meet you again.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, coming back. So we obviously only touched lightly on some of the stuff you've been involved in so far.
Yeah, I was
so now
we're going to went, to be honest.
We're going to look into some bullet points: drug addiction, occult involvement, some prison, and the underworld. So my first question for you, Paul, is what is the underworld?
Well, the underworld, I suppose you could term it as villains, people who do crime, people who do illegal activity. But there's obviously depths of underworld. There's like hierarchies of things that go on. Yeah, that's the underworld, isn't it? What do you want to know about the underworld? Can't say anything about the underworld. They might shoot me. I'm going to walk out the door, might they? Okay, yeah, so coming up 17, 18, I'd been involved in various things, various activities. And there was a massive influence of people at that point in my life that were involved quite heavily in the underworld, like, as we termed earlier, the underworld, or what I thought was the underworld. And probably at that time of life, I didn't realise how deep they were involved, you know, on how much they were really serious characters until they developed into more serious characters as we all got older, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this kind of opened up doors for me in other areas as well, kind of thing. And the boxing was always kind of got me in the doors as well, kind of thing.
Because your capability, I suppose, of the
maybe. I think everyone likes to fight around them, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like protection sort of thing, and protection was kind of the road I was sort of going along the way with. It's like little did it matter that I was a short guy. It didn't seem to matter no more. It was like I could look after myself, and I was game on, so I had no fear. And I think that resonated to a lot of them, and they'd see me fight and they'd see me operate, so it was all good in the hood in that sense, you know.
Yeah, so what sort of, you know, in your late teens now, what sort of activities were you being involved in?
Right, okay, so obviously I don't want to talk about my activities then, because most of that I never got caught for anything. But there was one particular thing that I can talk about, which I've done prison time for.
Yeah.
It was 1987 when the Callies were coming over from America, and they were the E's. And everyone was taking them in, like, partying ecstasy, chanting ecstasy. The Balearic beat had just come to an end with the Acid Man.
Yeah.
I told you about the Acid Man, didn't I? Yeah. And it was sort of moving on to E's now. In the flat at Beckenham, I was doing all the naughty stuff and getting to where I was getting in the cars and money, and thought I was a villain, etc., etc. But I'll tell you exactly what happened. And like true to my sort of style in them days, I sort of come forward like a general and said, right, okay, we'll attack them first. And we masked up like the SAS, and there was a few of us, and we was plotting outside the house on the snow, I remember it was, just before near Christmas of 1987. And we went, kicked the door down and done a bit of aggressive stuff, you know, got a bit violent. I'm not going to go into that because it was a bit naughty, what went on. And we ended up getting 3 years for it, GBH with intent, section 18, so we was lucky. So the actual charges were 2 GBHs with intent, section 18, for me alone, and they had separate ones themselves, and demanding money with menaces, but I got found guilty of just the one GBH with intent. I got 3 years for that. And just before that time, I was also having it with this other guy, and he was like a smuggler and a drug dealer, and I was kind of working for him, running around, being a bit of a Joey, I suppose, at that age, but learning the game, really. And so I ended up going to prison for the first time.
And what age are you now?
I am 20 then, 20-ish. 1920. Right, because the crime happened in 87, so I'll do the math. I need to do the math now, but I didn't go to prison until October the 3rd, 88. So I was on bail for over a year. After I got nicked, I got bail and I went to my old man's villa in Tenerife, and then I come back, and then I got right into the rave side of things with the E's, because the Callies, like I said, were coming over. And so there were guys that I can't mention were running the, I don't remember that time when there was all like parties and fields and things.
Yeah, the raves. And,
yeah, mate. Yeah. They were good days when I really enjoyed them myself. And I was like eating fucking E's like biscuits. You know, I like biscuits. and loving it, you know, and there was women available everywhere. The woman that I was with at the time with the baby, because of what I had done, she was appalled, and we split up, and she took my son away from me there, and I just kind of lost myself into the rave culture of taking these and getting on one, mate.
Partying.
yeah, but I was aware of the drug dealing going on in the background, and there was one particular guy who I just mentioned, no names, but he was like sort of drawing me in as security kind of thing, and I was sort of not really interested because I wanted a party, but at the same time I was interested.
Yeah.
And then I had this pending sentence coming up anyway for the GBH thing. I didn't know what I was going to get at the time, and I suppose 10 months of acid and ecstasies, I was just lost and get on one matey, and then I get 3 years. I eventually went to Swaleside prison after being in Brixton for a few days in the first prison sentence. You're allowed to get your own gear in, and I got my mum to send me in some acid shorts and acid sunglasses. I was still in that, you know, and that lovey. You can't be like that in prison, you know what I mean? That soon got fucking knocked on the head.
How did you find prison for the first time?
For the first time, it was like, to me, it was like another school, yeah, and the old playground attitude came in, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't letting anyone pick on me. My mates have said, don't everyone let anyone take the piss out of you there, Paul. Stand your ground, and I'll stand my ground anyway, wherever I am. And that's how it was in the prison. I was the most cockiest, hilarious fucking geezer you'd meet. Because you don't want me to say that C word, do you? So I'm not going to say that. But I was the most cockiest, Larry C word. Yeah, that's fine.
And
when I got in there, I was frightened as fuck, really. But I was still cocky, you know what I mean? Because you're not going to tell everyone you're frightened. Everyone's frightened when they go to prison. First time, didn't know what to expect. But I just know if it comes to it, I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to do something. And I remember on the first day I got in Swaleside, I was on the ones, walking around the ones, and I heard, Stuggy! And I've looked up and it's Johnny Lister.
Ah, Johnny.
John, mate. And like, to see someone that you know from the street, even though at that particular time me and John weren't having it, to see someone that you know, it's it, you link straight away.
Of course.
And John was game fucker. You know, I think he was in there for like stabbing someone or bottling someone. One of the times when he's done that, he was doing a 4. And so that was it. We just locked straight together. We was okay. And the little firm that I was on the wing with, there was one we called Sterling. He was in for a machine gun attack over East London. We thought we were gangsters. We thought we was we used to call them the plastic gangsters over this side, who were probably the real gangsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were older crowd. They was in for armed robberies and whatevers, you know. And it was, so for me, it was like school, time to get companions and blah, blah, blah. And it was a school because I learned more about crime there.
You actually learnt more about it
in prison. Well, all the people in there, why did you get caught? Because I should have done this, because I should have done that. Next time I'm going to do this. You know,
Right,
talk to, and I used to start talking to some of the lifers in there and the robbers and learning. You know, I was humble, and I was only
suppose
young.
if you're surrounded with that, it's what you're gonna.
Yeah, well, because it fascinated me. That was what I thought I was about. And my friend used to send me in acid taps and things and stamps behind the stamps.
Oh, really?
You know, like acid.
Yeah.
They're only tiny little squares, you know, like 3 or 4 acid stamps behind the stamp. Yeah, and I was to get people on acid in the prison and out of the fucking nuts. Yeah, and that was freaky. When you take an acid tab in prison, you can imagine it's most paranoid environment you can be in.
It's probably not the best environment you want to be in.
No,
That
so when you take an
state of mind.
Oh, it's fucking mad. Yeah, but so you know, I had a couple of fights in there, and showed who I was, and that's the thing. If you take someone out now and then, it's like in life out in the street. And not so much these days. You don't have to do it now because people know you. But I remember growing up. If you hadn't had a fight for a couple of weeks, you should go and have one. You know, and let people know you're still about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's always someone wanting to fucking think they can have a pop with you.
Yeah.
And consequently, there's always someone out there better than you.
Yeah.
Don't care who you are. There's always someone better, and there's someone better than them as well. Yeah, someone that you think ain't so bad but good, that you might beat them that's beat you. You know, there's so many dangerous people out there as well. And that's what I realised in prison. It's like, it's not like school grounds, you know. These guys are serving big terms, and they've done some nasty things to people.
Yeah.
You know.
So what was prison like for you as a whole? Did you find it a bad experience, a good experience, or when you sort of come out, what did you take from that?
My experience in prison was different because I know a lot of people get into spiritual affairs with the church and things in prison, but mine come from a real strange quarter kind of thing, yeah? Being 20, 21 there at that point, I think it was about four months into my sentence when I was in Swaleside, that things started happening. I kind of, let's get this in the right context. I suffered from a massive panic attack in there, and I didn't know what panic attacks were at the time. But there's a lot about it now, a lot of information about panic attacks now, and I think it's probably got a lot to do with a lot of things. With the stress of life and the fast pace that we are of life, which is why a lot of people do it. It's also to do with drug induced, and it's also to do with spiritual warfare and things, which is another subject which I'll deal with later. I had a few letters given to me at once, and they would like, you don't get your letters straight away. You might get a letter last week and get it 2 weeks time, or you might get the one week later first. It was like they're put to a side and then they're given to you when they can be bothered to give it, kind of thing, yeah? And I had like 2 or 3 letters, and the messages were in the letters. And one of the letters, it was, Jan's getting married, so that's the mother of my child. 2 was, your nan's dead, yeah, which fucking really done me up. And the other one was, your dog's died.
Oh, blimey.
So, you know,
got a load of bad news, yeah.
It was a lot of bad news. And, you know, I'm only fucking young at that time, and I'm banged up. You know, I'm fucking banged up in prison for 3 years at 20, 21 years old, the fucking prime of my life. I was upset, and the drugs obviously had a role to play as well on my psyche and my mental state, and I didn't know any of that at the time, kind of thing, yeah. And obviously, how would I? And on the morning I got the letters, I went, they called for dinner, so we're walking down to the canteen to take a tray and a plate and that down to the canteens where the serving hatches are, and it's sinking into me. Nan's dead, dog's dead, she's getting married, so fucking prison, you know, and I'm building up and welling up, kind of thing. I come down and the fucking food is shit, you know, and everyone's a cunt. Oh, you don't want me to say that word. Everyone's a yeah. And I've had enough, yeah. Fucking food, I remember scum. Yeah, and I thought, I'm scum now, and threw the fucking thing, the dinner plates all over their fucking hot plate stuff, and I thought, I just got to get to my cell, so I started going back to my cell, kicking chairs out of the way, got back to my cell, then I obliterated my cell, smashed the door, smashed it, and one of the screws banged me up for my own safety, I suppose, yeah, and, you know, I'm really fucked off by it, and there's a knock on the door, and I looked up, and there's a priest, a Catholic priest. I was down as C of E, but a Catholic priest knocking the door, Father Joe. And he's going, Paul, can I come in? I'm going, fuck off. I was crying, and fuck off. And he went, no, let me come in. And he came in, and he started talking to me, and I was going, oh. And like, my experiences with God was not a lot then, you know. It was more, before I went to prison, I used to carry a St. Christopher, and as far as I knew, that was God. I didn't know the link side of it. I didn't understand it truly, kind of thing, yeah. And the guy that I was looking after before I went away was into God, and everyone said he had lost the plot because he had found God and he was part of an armed robbery firm, and they turned on him, and lot of stuff was going on about that. And to me, that was like, what are we talking about? You know, is there a God? Although when I was younger, I used to speak to something and it used to speak to me. And that didn't even correlate with any of that at the time until later on. And so he's talking about God, and he was going, you know, take God into your life, son. He's like, I know you're feeling down and you're upset because of this is happening, that's happened. Take God into your life. He was like really like trying to sell me God kind of thing, yeah. Now I've said this in a previous podcast. I'm going to say it again because it's important. And I've obviously I've told you that I wrote a book, and one part of the book is called God in the Cell, and this is the God in the Cell part of the book. He's telling me this, I'm feeling really like down and blah, blah, blah. And the bars on the window, they're quite thick bars. They're dingy little lit cells, and there's always dust floating about anywhere. And like if the sun comes out and it goes through you see rays,
see the particles,
and you see the particles in the actual fucking rays come through. And it was like timing, yeah. It was like as he's saying that. And I'm starting to listen, the sun come out and the rays come through and there's warmth in the cell, and I felt warmth. And, you know, I'd had a bit of a cry as well, so it might be just the fact that I'd cried that I felt better, you know, and I needed to cry because I didn't cry, you know, because a lot of shit was going on at such a young time, and young age, sorry. And he was like looking at me like he could see the change, and I thought, do you know what? I started getting this God feeling, because there was a presence, I felt a presence.
Yeah.
Something was it just took it away. It's like I could laugh, I was joking, it was like, it was fine, everything was fine. And so I started to go to the church on a Sunday and sing and pray and like join in kind of thing, and sort of like kept an open mind about it. And within a couple of weeks, he had me moved to the open prison. So it was kind of looked like it was getting better for me, yeah. Like God was trying to implement or come into my life somehow. And the guy that I had previously been referred to, who was into God himself on the outside, that I was like doing a bit of work for. At that stage, Joey, really, I was up and coming, and he was there, yeah. He heard about it and wanted to come and see me on a visit. Remember, I was in an open prison now because I've been moved from Swaleside to Stanford Hill. So it was a lot easier, more laxed, easier to smuggle that in kind of thing. He said, just get your canteen with that, Paul, because a gram of heroin, everyone wants heroin in prison, and like for a little bit you can get loads of canteen for that.
So it was just a sweetener to give to someone to give you access to more food and stuff.
Yeah, it's canteen, like, all the toiletries and things. I said, sweet. And he said, oh, and I've left a bottle of whiskey out by the, he told me where, there's a lamppost, and the lid had come off the front of it, and they'd put it on there, told me exactly where it was. When you go out on your work party Monday, go and get it, you know, because it was my birthday. I was depressed, it was my birthday. So I couldn't wait till Monday, I was feeling depressed, so I wanted to go and get it. I pinned my heroin behind a picture in my cell, because I had my own cell there. I'm going to get the fucking whiskey now because I fucking, I'm not a drinker or nothing, but I need something. I need fixate on something, It's the addict in me. So they had these like caps in prison, and in the caps they had little hair nets in the back of them. Like, I don't know why, same for the cooking staffs, etc., etc. The blue caps, white caps, they all had the same thing. Blue overalls, blue trousers, blue and boots, yeah? Well, that was my fucking... That was me, overalls, boots and a mask. That was my criteria, for doing things. I was only going to get a bottle of whiskey, but that's how I was dressed, And I had the mask, the hat on like that, the other way around, and pulled the black over there like over the mask, And crawling out of prison, being all careful so no one could see me, going out to at the grands. And remember, it's like in association now, night time, association, but it'd be bang up soon, okay. As I've got the bottle of whiskey and I'm coming back in, the doors are shut. I'm thinking, why is the fucking door shut? So I'm sneaking round the grands, trying to break back into the prison. And but they're waiting for me. They know I'm out there. Someone else got caught going out there as well, and they do a roll call. So everyone goes back to the cell. They do a roll call. And Sue's here and Sue ain't.
I see you missing,
Oh, I was missing, so they're waiting for me, and I come out. I think I'm just getting in. Going to make it, and then Stockton, stay there. And I had dogs dogs round the back as well. I hear the dogs barking, grabbed me, and they put me down the block. They found the, I went, that was on a Saturday, so on the Monday morning, I was in the block till the Monday morning, and then you had to do a, like adjudication thing. They set a little court in the prison, and they said, we found this in your cell, behind one of your pictures.
Found a heroin.
Yeah, and I said, heroin? I said, what's that, cocaine? And they went, no, it's heroin. And I said, well, I don't take heroin. I said, what's it doing in my cell? They said, well, and one guy, I think he done me a favour because he went, to be honest, Mr. Stockton, your door was open, and so we think someone might have put it in there. Done me a right touch. Yeah. And I went, yeah, probably, because I won't go near that fucking shit. You know what I mean? That's not me, not a bit of me. And that kind of stuff wasn't a bit of me, you know?
Yeah.
And so they added another month or two on my sentence, and for the whiskey and the going out the prison. Wasn't absconding, but like going out the grounds. And I was shipped straight back to fucking Swaleside.
Oh, bloody
okay.
hell.
Well, it was then that I went, fucking God, again, you know, because I mean, when I first got my prison sentence and I had to send Christopher, and I thought that had something to do with God and he was going to save me, and then I'll get 3 fucking years. So I threw that to my dad in the court. And now again, God's come round again, and it was like, got me in trouble and lost more time. So it was like, but something happened to me in that cell that day. And it was too apparent to me on that day for me to just leave it and forget about it. So I thought, well, what is it? Then I started thinking maybe it was my nan had come into the cell to say it was all right. And it was like, it was something had happened so much that I knew I couldn't just leave it. So I started going to the library and doing a bit of soul searching and trying to work out what it was, kind of thing, you know. And I got into meditation, right, and reading books on the occult and folklore, and like it was so appealing. It was like it was a new fixation. It was like.
Can I just ask you, what's a cult that you've just said there? What is that?
Well, at that point, a cult is hidden knowledge. That's what cult means. It means
right.
Hidden knowledge. Like, for example, Masons, Freemasons.
Yep.
That comes under cult because it's secret, hidden knowledge kind of thing. Anything that's like underground as well, kind of thing, spiritually, can be considered cult. Or if you're a Christian, anything that is not Christian is a cult.
Right.
Yeah, which is like white, black or white in it, kind of thing. Yeah. But so okay, and as I've said in a previous podcast, I was young. I was like anyone at that age, very highly sexed. I'm banged up in prison at the prime of my life, and I was learning to astral project, and I had an out of body experience doing that, and I also got into evocation, which is like evoking spiritual entities, you know, or intelligences.
Yeah.
And I devised an idea of maybe I can evoke a female spirit into my cell one night, you know. And this is what I tried to do. And I worked out how I do the evocation, and which was uttering certain words and focusing on the aspect of a manifestation to take place. And I went into a meditation, and I've done the Lesser Banishment ritual, the pentagram, which is like a routine that you would do for protection, or supposedly for protection. And I remember closing my eyes and visualising this spirit coming in. And then while I'm closing my eyes, I must have fell asleep. Okay, but while I'm asleep, I had the most amazing orgasm, wet dream that you could ever have. And that was like, to me, that was like, did it work? You know, was that part of the spirit coming to me? I don't know. All I know is that from that moment on, I was probably a little bit possessed because things started changing. It's like with the panic attack, you know, then I started having the panic attack. It was shortly after I'd done the invocations, etc., etc. Now, I know that panic attacks can be induced by drugs, yeah? I know that panic attacks can be induced by pressure, anxiety build-up, etc., etc. But I also know that panic attacks can come from opening portals to the spirit world. And I think that's what I'd done, kind of thing, yeah? Maybe, I don't know for sure, but that's maybe what I think had happened. And have I spoken about the panic attack yet?
No.
I haven't explained the panic attack, have I? So what the panic attack was, when I was coming down to my spur one day, shortly after all this episodes had happened. Now, you've got to understand that I was cocky as hell in there, and I felt confident on my spur with my little crew, yeah? And you've got the flaps on the doors, yeah? You know, like the peephole scraps that the screws look through, yeah? And I was always banging them like a speedball, really hard and fast, and I was, Governor, open my fucking door. What's that sort of, nothing, Gov, can you open my door? Like playing around and like being loud and leery. So that was my personality in there. That went. I was walking down the spur all cocky, and then this panic attack come from somewhere. I don't know what it was. It's coming from a strange quarter, and I couldn't look to the side. It felt like there was something there, and I was paranoid of saying, I didn't know what. It was just filled with this immense fear, and I just remember I need to get into my cell, but the end of the spur is my cell, and they're all congregating, playing backgammon as we would, right outside my door. So the boys are seeing me come down. I'm like, quick march, trying to get into the cell, banged up in the cell, and shut the door. And that to me was like, what the fuck is that? I thought I was going mad. I really thought that was it. I'm fucking lost it. You can tell me it could be to do with the drugs, it could be to do with whatever. But at that time in prison, at that age, going through that, you don't want that when you're in a prison.
Yeah.
You don't, do you? So it was then I really started looking into the occult more and more, and trying to work out what I'd done. I could make it better, or I was looking soul searching, trying to find something, and then I found about willing dice through divination and things, like getting dice and asking questions and getting answers through dice.
Right.
And then I actually found that I could actually will the dice to land on numbers, and I'd play backgammon and win.
What? So you'd think of you want 2 6s, and throw
Yeah,
out 2 6s.
6, and it'd be a 6. You know, more times than not.
Yeah.
Too much, uncannily, it would work, kind of thing. And then I started to realise I had some kind of power to make things happen, and I didn't know how much power there was there at that time. It was early days, kind of thing, yeah. But later on, when I came out of prison, it became more apparent. And my co-defendant, who was, we were separated from the beginning at Brixton. He went to Winston Green, and I went to Swaleside. Unbeknown to me, he was doing Ouija board,
Right.
in the prison, yeah, and tarot cards, and I weren't, but he was, and he tried to escape the from the police cells and broke a copper's jaw, so he got an extra year. But he was on remand while I was out on bail, so the timing was he got out just before me because he'd served a bit behind the jump. When I came out of prison, and obviously I've met this other guy who wanted to take me to Africa, etc., who was into God. My co-defendant wasn't into God. He was in his head into the devil, I suppose, or into the dark arts.
Yeah, dark side.
Which would people would term that, but we know that it wasn't dark at that point anyway. Yeah. So when I've come out and I'm getting involved with this activity with this other guy, he's sort of in the background, and I'm trying to pull him into it as well, and telling him about God, yeah, because this other guy's telling me about God, and I'm just going with it. Yeah, there's a God, all right, we're going to, yeah, all right, God says we're going to go to, God said it, we're going to go there. It was lightly, but listening to what he's talking about God and respecting it because of who he is, kind of thing, yeah. Not totally taking it. I'm looking for fucking guidance now. I'm 22 now, got out, and I'm like 22, 23 was it. I've got out and I've had panic attacks and I'm completely fucked up and I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to reintegrate with society, and I'm trying to get a foothold somewhere, and that's the kind of line I was following.
Yeah. This
This guy who's international smuggler, who's into God, who's also an ex-armed robber and a very dangerous man, yeah, but a very serious man. If you meet the guy, he's a fucking lovely man. He's one, and a lot of them are like that, yeah? He's one of the best geezers you'll meet, kind of thing. Gentleman, do everything for you, blah, blah, blah. Just don't upset him, you know? There's another side, isn't there, yeah? Anyway, he's kind of taken me down that path, that spiritual path, I suppose you could say, of crime. spiritual path of crime, there's something wrong there, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but like, you know, I'm green. I'm just great at it. I'm young. I'm still fucking green. I don't know. You know, I'm just following instinctively to try and ascertain who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
Where I'm going in life. And then, after I've been to Africa and certain things are gone and you know, money's everywhere, you know, and I'm kind of elevated and feeling like I'm part of this bigger than I was kind of stuff. I'm trying to talk without talking, if you get what I'm saying, but I'm trying to express to you where I was going without like getting in trouble, basically, or getting anyone else in trouble. And I do apologise to anyone if I've mentioned your... No, I'm never going to mention surnames. If I mention your name at any time, I'm sorry, because I'm trying not to, yeah? And not guilty on everything, okay? So, so now it's my friend's turn to go to Africa.
Yeah.
And he knows that when we go out there, we talk to the spiritual people over there, the prophetesses that are linked to God and linked to this other guy.
So what are these characters? Like church people?
They're church people.
Are you talking
supposed to be church people.
Okay.
Spiritual people. Yeah. And like, I mean, I don't know if you know anything about Nigeria. It's one of the most corrupt countries in the whole wide world. And the corruption starts from the government. So that gives you an idea.
Go all the way through.
Yeah. And these prophetesses, like religious people, are like healers, spiritual healers. They speak in tongues. Blah, 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 they're all part of a massive organisation of crime.
Right.
Yeah, say no more, okay? But it's my friend's turn to go and meet some of these people and take a bigger role on the firm. And he said to me, I can't go, mate, they'll kill me. And I said, what are you talking about? We're talking about, Willis. How are they going to kill you, yeah? And he said, well, you're into God, he's into God, I'm into the devil. I said, we fucking talking about into the devil. What's he on about? You know what I mean? Into the that kind of feeling. Yeah? What do you mean? He said, well, when I was in prison, I was on the Ouija board, and he weren't into the devil, yeah, but it's termed devil if you're not a Christian, yeah. Okay, if you go and follow anything that's occult or spiritual other than Christ and things like that to the church, they say it's the devil's work, yeah. Okay. And he said about the Ouija board, and I knew what a Ouija board was. Just get a fucking Ouija board, show me what you're talking about. Yeah, I want to see what you're talking about, because he's not an idiot, the guy. And like, if he's saying something in it, there's something in it. It's got to be, because I know him. He's not a bullshit. There's something in it. So we formulated a new board, and we got talking about everything you could talk. There was 4 of us at the time. I've mentioned the names previously, but I don't think I should mention the names because I haven't asked their permission, you know. I mean, yeah. Maybe that's wrong with me, so I apologise for that. But you know who you were. And we've gone through loads and loads of questions on this Ouija board. We'd have a puff, we'd drink a bit of wine or whatever, maybe a line of speed. And we would ask this board so many bloody questions. When I first got on the board, I've gone, I want to speak to Satan. Satan, are you there? Yeah, what a fucking idiot. Satan, are you there? And obviously, he's busy. He didn't want to talk to me, you know what I mean? Because nothing's happened. And then we're asking to speak to you, Nan, and this and that, and nothing's happening at all. And then Steve's gone, well, let's talk about to the spirit I was speaking to, Nip. And Nip, it was the name of the first spirit of the path that I was on. And Nick was kind of the initiator. He was a joker at first. Like we say, we're all on the world now, and we're asking it questions. You know, we've asked it every silly question you can think of. Am I going to shag this bird? Am I going to get that? Am I going to do that? After a few weeks of being on the board, not every single day, but most days and most evenings, a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there. You've asked every sort of shit you could think of. There's no more shit to ask. Yeah.
So it's more like a bit of fun at first. Like
yeah.
That.
There you go.
Yeah.
And are you pushing the ball? No, I'm not. Are you pushing it? Are you? Someone's moving it here now. Are you asking questions that could have been done by one of you, and then all of a sudden you ask fire out a question that no one knows the answer of. One of I was at that time I was dating a girl called Becky, and she had a dog called Christopher's, 2 dogs called Christopher and Breeze. And I said to the boy, no one knew where I'd been that day, and I said to her, to the board, where was I today? And it was spelled out dogs. And I was like, well, that for me was one of the turning points, because no one knew I was with the dogs. Right. No one, and told them, you know. So things like that started coming into play now, and you were starting getting belief in it. And what we learned in the end is that the glass would move, okay, but you got to go with it. So if you got your finger on the glass and you felt it move, don't keep your finger still, because it's not going to move, is it? Yeah, you've got to go with it. And everyone, when they feel the glass move, and the glass would go around like that in a circle, then go as quick as that to something, and then it's a letter, and then you spell it, and then it go like that to another, and then in the end it get like that and like that, and sometimes it goes so fast we can't contain it, the connection's broke, kind of thing. Yeah. So it was spelling out this and spelling out that, etc., etc. Now, in between all this going on, I was still working for this other guy, yeah, the smuggling guy, yeah, and consequently a lot of my friends were now working for me, part of him, kind of thing, yeah, doing loads of different things for him. He was involved with something with another guy, and a lot of money was involved, and the board started saying about him, kept mentioning him. We're talking about, and we kind of worked out what he was talking about. Like it worked telepathically. You'd be on the board, and to those of you who don't believe this, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, this is real. And those of you who have experienced this stuff, you know what I'm talking about, because this is real. Yeah, if you don't believe it, just listen anyway. Yeah, this board would put. We've got a link now, a psychic link. So all of a sudden a thought would come to one of your heads, and then you would mention it, and the board would go, yes, that's the topic. Yeah, so this is a quick time of getting things done, and that's how quick we could talk on the board. So
you'd get a thought in your head, you wouldn't actually say it with your lips, you just think it, and that was answered.
Okay, so one of us would act as a medium.
Yeah.
I am a medium. I mediate, and later on in life it made sense why. Yeah, so I would ask questions, and the board would say yes or no's. Yeah. Right. If you had something to say, you would say something, then I'd repeat your question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it's like a hierarchy, if you like. There, it's like it was organised. It was all done properly, and all of a sudden, it was saying that can't trust. Okay. So on the board, after days and weeks, we'd add things to the board. So we'd make our own communication setup. For example, the board told us about Queen. Put a Queen Q, and it spelled out Queen. And then it spelled out spades, Queen of Spades. And it didn't make sense till later on in life. Queen of Spades means an untrustworthy, insincere individual, capable of conspiring, getting in your way or standing in your way. All right, that's what Queen of Spades means in a tarot card. Didn't know that at the time, but at the time of the board, Queen of Spades means untrustworthy person. Okay? So on the board, and you're talking, the board was fucking, it was wood. Yeah, and we drew the circles with a massive compass, yeah, and we've done all the segments in it, and we've done the yes and the no's, and the nights and the clocks, the times, and little things, symbols were, along the way were being introduced to us so we could communicate better with Nip, okay? And the more we'd done this, the stronger the connection was with Nip. We were fucking hooked on it. That was like, Nip, we're going to Bob C, speak to Nick tonight, you know? And then we weren't too sure about things going in, how things were going on, like, ask Nip tonight at the board, yeah, all right. And that's how it would go. Yeah. Nip, but it's my bird, you know, whatever, you know, Nip would say yes or no, and whatever Nip was telling us, we'd believe. Yeah?
So you're always getting connected with this same
Always getting, well, was it? I don't know at the time.
Yeah.
I presume it was, yeah, because of what happened later on in life, yeah. But maybe it was Satan. I don't know. You don't know, do you? You know who's Satan at the end of the day. I believe that Satan is Saturn. It's like miscommunicated along the way. It's Satan's Saturn, the planet. You know. Anyway, so it started telling us about this other guy being untrustworthy. Okay, I'll fast forward this a bit because I've covered it elsewhere in another podcast, and you know. It's time consuming, but I'll get to the point what I'm going to tell you, which is a massive point, yeah? It told us that this was going to kill us. It told us that it killed this other geezer, robbed the other geezer, it was now going to kill us, and rule us out the thingy, which is saying so fucking far-fetched. Yeah, and, you know, there's been rumours that he's killed people before, and I don't know if he has or not, yeah? But I wouldn't put it past him. You upset the guy, you know, he's not an idiot.
Yeah.
And he's a serious character. So, but I don't know if he did or not. But that ball made us believe that he's coming to kill us, you know? And the characters that were in that room ain't idiots. You know, they're dangerous people. One of them ready to put a crossbow through his head, etc., etc. Anyway, cut a long story short, I'll bring it forward, yeah? The board staged this to us. It told me to ring him and get him to come down here. And they said that's when he's going to come and kill me. Got a gun and everything. I knew he had guns. Seen him with his fucking guns loads of times.
Yeah.
So I knew he's capable. So we've got to kill him when he comes here to the bowl. So imagine that you're all sitting around waiting and it's been talking about it for days and weeks, yeah, and building, staging it. Now it's going to happen. Get him down here tonight. He might do it tonight. You can kill him tonight, yeah? That's the kind of the thing we're thinking in our heads. So I'm saying to the bowl, right, okay, just one last time, mate. So as soon as he gets here, we got to kill him. No. What do you mean, no? No. Okay. What then? Talk to him. Yeah. Why are you telling us not to kill him now? Is he going to kill us? No. So why are you telling us? They spoke about lose a friend, gain power. That was the message. Okay. And we're looking at each other. It's not sinking in at first, but it sunk in after that. It was like that bald, the spirit in that bald, did not want me with that guy. Did he want me with that guy because he was into God, or because he was taking me on a path that something might have happened to me?
Yeah.
That bald was trying to protect me by keeping me away from him. He was a mate of mine, that geezer. He's a nice fella, really nice fella, yeah. And I'm friends with him now. Okay, and I've told him about this, and he laughed, yeah. Okay, so we spoke about this now, and he laughs about it, yeah. But he's turned up now, and I'm having to tell him, you need to talk to this spirit on the board because he tells us you're going to kill us, yeah. You're going to rob us and kill us. What the fuck are you talking about, Paul? Yeah, I said, you've got to talk to it on the board, mate. Where is it then? He sat down and my mate said to him, ask it questions in your head. It will know what you're thinking. And then it will give you the answers. So he's asking it questions in my head. You go, go on. And then it's going yeses and going no's. His face changed, completely changed. I don't know what he asked it.
Yeah.
But I know he stood up and he went, Paul, listen, mate, you and me, that's it. We're part our ways now. He said, you're going to go off your head, son. He said, you're going to fucking go off your head, mate. He said, you need to leave this alone. This is dangerous, like that. And he walked, because he's into God, isn't he?
Right, yeah.
And he's walked out. And I was gutted because he was a mate of mine, you know what I mean? But like I say, later in life, we kindled. You know, lots of things happened in between that time. We kindled. He's sweet as nothing now. But he did kind of curse us in a way by saying, I'm going to go off my head. He got caught with a kilo of heroin a couple of weeks later, and he was nutted off in the, I don't know if he was putting it on or whatever. He got nutted off for a little while. He's all right, though. He come out of the hospital after about 6 months. Something happened to him. But like what I'm trying to say to you is, maybe the board was trying to get me away with that because that would have been me.
Yeah, gotcha, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It could have been me coming in with the heroin with him. I don't know. So that was a big start of the spiritual side, because what happened then is one of my mates said, fuck this. I want nothing to do with that no more. It's fucking mad. We could have killed that guy. Yeah, or something bad could have happened.
Yeah, what was your thought process on that, obviously, to take it all in at first?
Right, well, this is what I'm trying to say to you, because you've got to imagine my mental state at the time, yeah? I'm suffering from anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and drug-induced fucking forms of schizophrenia, I suppose, if you think about it. It's like schizophrenia, drugs take you this way and that way, the ups and the downs. But when I look at it, now I know exactly what's happened because of the story that followed, you know, the life that followed. But at the time, I was still trying to find who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the fixation was there again, because like when one of my mates gone, the other one went and then we looked at each other and thought, that's a bit of us. We want this. Lose a friend, gain power. What power? What's he talking about? What power? And like you look at that power, that board, what that board had us nearly doing in a couple of weeks. That's power. You know, it's
Well,
like a new way of planning and doing things, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Can I just ask you though, what was your obviously you're getting these requests from this board. So what was your actual like the feeling of when it said you got to kill your friend? Was that actually like a belief? You believe in this board?
I don't believe this is happening. It's like it can't. It's like, am I in a film? It's like it's not real. It's like it can't. You know, but this is what I'm trying to say. You've got to understand I was suffering from terrible panic attacks. Okay, and this is something else I need to tell you about the board. Yeah. So once the guys are gone, and we've decided to follow what this board's telling us. We stayed on the board night after night, and this board, this spirit, educated us in the occult, in magic. It was telling us to go to what's the Waterstones,
What's the
bookshop.
bookshop? Yeah.
And get books. Yeah.
Really?
And what books we get? And it was saying, you will know. Yeah, you will know. So we go when we would go to these bookshops, and there we'd go look at a section. I'd be drawn to a section, and he talked to us. It's called use your awareness. Yeah, that's what he used to tell us to do. Use your awareness. Okay, and there was a card attributed to that called the King of Clubs, which meant use your awareness. Okay, so when we do card readings later on, the King of Clubs would fall out or move itself out, and you'd be drawn to that, and then use your awareness, and then or another one, 4 spades need to wait, things like that. It was like taught us with cards how to manoeuvre in communication through divination, with this spirit net. And so we'd go to a bookshop and they'd be drawn to think, and there'd be a book just sticking out somewhere, and get that book, and it'd be on magic, and that's the book. And we'd have our cards with sometimes and get a confirmation. It's just a 1 and get an ace, which is a yes. Yeah. Or if you get a King of Hearts, there's a bang on 100% yes. If you get an ace, it's sort of yes, that direction. Or you've got the right idea, you're going the right way.
So you're now sort of using your tarot cards as a direction
to learn. Yeah,
right.
Exactly, yeah. So then we go back and we coop on the bowl about what's going on, etc., etc. And he named us, and initially, right from the word go, he named me X, my brother in magic S. Sorry, start again. Named me X, my brother in magic U. One of the other guys begin with S, and the other guy begin with E, yeah, which made sense. And it made sense that my brother in magic was a U because there was 2 S's, yeah. But it weren't because of that. Because when everyone gone, he was still U, and the reason his name's U, it was short for Yuhain, which means death prayer. And there's a magical significance to that comes later, yeah.